Join nearly 1,400 entrepreneurs and students at the 2013 Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization National Conference in Chicago, October 31st through November 2nd. Visit CEO.org for more information. That's C-E-O.org.
This is Michael Lukes from the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization, joined with Pamela Peterson, instructor at University of Nebraska Omaha. She also has over 25 years of selling experience, and she'll be joining us for the 2013 CEO National Conference. Pamela, thanks a lot for joining me.
Oh, Michael, you're welcome.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're currently working on within the sales courses at University of Nebraska Omaha.
Well, Michael, I'm currently teaching two courses in sales, professional selling and then advanced strategic selling. And as a result of those two courses, we identified a need to develop a new course, Entrepreneurial Selling, which I'll be teaching next spring. And this course is designed to address all those challenges the startup has in capturing that first early adopter. How do I sell my product, which is unknown in the marketplace, and actually convince someone to buy from me?
And then you'll be speaking at the upcoming conference. Is that the main, what will be the main focus of your talk at the conference?
Well, the talk will cover why is it important to sell, and the critical skill research has been showing is that the ability to sell can be the key differentiator between a successful new venture and a failure.
And why do you feel that is? Do you feel it's just the revenue coming in and helping with the cash flow, being able to keep the doors open, or is it something greater than that?
Well, absolutely, Michael, it is, because what the first customer will do is give you credibility in the marketplace. So it becomes not now an unknown, but something that might be a viable product to solve a specific issue, whether it's a problem or an unmet need. And the other thing that this first customer will do is give you feedback about this product, what's working and what isn't, which would allow you then to pivot, to keep building on what is this product. So you're getting that feedback. And then, again, the revenue, of course, because that's another issue. Why do a lot of startups fail? It's because of cash flow. And if you get that revenue stream coming in that's consistent and stable, that allows you to keep moving forward.
And how will this session benefit attendees? So if a student's coming with a new business idea, what can they expect to take away from the session?
Well, I think, Michael, the way we've set this workshop up is that what we're going to do is give a framework of what the sales process looks like, because there is a very specific process. It's not a random process. It has to be a defined. With whatever the product offering is, there's a specific process. And when I sat down and looked at entrepreneurial selling, I came back with what we call a pipeline, Michael. And a pipeline is a defined series of stages that you move through in terms of the selling process. So the workshop will focus on why is it critical to sell very early in the process, actually day one, and then go through what those 8 stages are. So the attendees at the workshop will walk away understanding the significance of why it's important to build what we call standardized sales process, which would be unique to their respective organization.
What are some of the issues that young entrepreneurs often face when it comes to sales in a startup?
They spend, what I have seen in my own experience here at the university, is that so much time is spent on defining the product. What is the product? And writing the business plan. And again, what we're seeing is you have to be agile. You have to be able to go out there and sell it, then come back and define the business plan and the product. Unlike a Fortune 500 company where you have this plethora of resources at your disposal, the startup is creating all these resources to help them sell their product. So they will walk away with a framework, with a new insight around what is critical. Why is this so critical to the success of my organization? Because we all have great ideas, but how many of us are really able to successfully execute? And the execution comes from having that framework.
So then outside of not placing enough emphasis on sales or just spending too much time on the business plan, what are some of the other mistakes that young entrepreneurs make when it comes to selling in a new startup?
Well, and that's a really great question, Michael. What happens is, and I see this as well, one of the key components to being successful is clearly defining who is the buyer and why would they buy. What will drive that purchasing decision? And that means building an ideal client profile. And because you have this huge universe of prospective buyers, but if you can narrow down the universe to a very clearly defined set of buying characteristics, which may be geographic, it may be their industry segment, it could be a number of characteristics that go into each unique profile. And for me personally, when I look at a prospective buyer, I'm always looking at, number one, can this buyer pay their bills? And number two, is my value statement, my mission vision, my ethics policy in alignment with this prospective buyer? Because the buyer, it has to be a win-win relationship, Michael. And for the buyer to adopt the product, you want to make sure you have the right buyer because you want to build the trusted advisor relationship, and you want it to be a win-win relationship for both the buyer and the seller, who is that new startup.
Yeah, and that's a very common problem that I witness as well working with young entrepreneurs and startups is they like to say their target market or their buyer is everyone and anyone would want to buy this, and they don't really see the importance of narrowing it down to that specific buyer. So if you would, what is the importance of narrowing it down to a specific buyer instead of just kind of leaving it open and saying that anybody could purchase this product or service?
Well, see, and what that does, Michael, with this ideal client profile or this target buyer is it really, really narrows the universe of buyers. So now you have a pool of buyers who all have similar characteristics. And so what's working with buyer A, because of these similarities, can work with buyer B. So you're really able to identify what those buyer motives are, because you have a very similar universe that you're targeting versus, for example, if you're selling a product and you want to sell it into, you think people in the medical industry would be interested, you think people in the education industry would be interested, you think people in manufacturing would be interested. Well, now you spread yourself so wide that you're really not capturing the knowledge that you need to be able to make those effective decisions on how I'm positioning this product. Because you're so scattered, because each industry segment has different what we call external and internal influences. But by keeping it really narrow, then you have a very deep understanding of that one particular type of buyer in his or her industry. Really, really, really will help. Because we really have, when we're looking at a startup, you really have limited resources. And the most significant one of those resources that you really have to maximize is how you manage your time. Which leads me back to this framework that you build. When you build a standardized sales framework, now you're so much more effectively using your time. You're not reactionary, but you're being really proactive.
Great, and then we'll finish up here with just one last question. And what's your best or most important piece of advice for a current or aspiring young entrepreneur?
I would tell you, Michael, it's constantly testing the product hypothesis, or what is my value proposition? What is it about my product that is so compelling and so different that is going to trigger a buying decision? So it's constantly thinking about, not about me and my product, but what can my product do for that buyer? What value? How can I impact my buyer's organization, either current state or future state, in some positive way, which adds tremendous value?
Great. Well, once again, it's been Michael Lukes from the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization with Pamela Peterson. Pamela, thanks again. We look forward to seeing you at the 2013 CEO National Conference.
Michael, we're looking forward to it. And as we had talked, the presentation will be an interactive workshop, and I have 2 additional speakers who will be joining me. Keith Fix, a recent alum from the University of Nebraska Omaha, and Pamela Shields, who is a former executive at Heinz.
Yeah,
thank
Keith
you, Michael.
Actually won one of our awards last year for young. I believe it was Innovator of the Year.
Yes, he did, and he is just thrilled to be coming back and talk about his experiences over the last 18 months as a successful owner of a new venture, Lab Feed.
Great. Well, thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you then.
We'll see you in October. Thank you, Michael.